As the sun sets on the horizon, the cemetery awakens, cloaked in a mist that seems to breathe with a life of its own. This place, they say, is where the dead don't rest. And neither do the living. The graves here are more than just resting places, they are doorways to something far more sinister. A warning etched in stone for those who dare to tread where no living soul should. In the depths of the fog, something stirs. A figure, lost to time, wanders these grounds, seeking. What? A victim, perhaps, or something they themselves lost in life. But in this place, appearances are deceiving, and the absence of the figure only deepens the terror. For in the world's most haunted cemetery, what you don't see is often far more dangerous. Something has risen here, something that should have remained buried. The very ground is scarred by its passage, and the trees whisper warnings in the wind. It's as if the spirits themselves are trying to pull you into their world, a place of eternal torment from which there is no escape. Beneath the earth, where light dares not venture, lies the heart of this haunted place. The crypt, long forgotten by the world above, holds secrets that could drive one to madness. Here, in the depths of the cemetery, the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. And those who cross that line may never return. The path to the underworld is not always downward, but here, it is a descent into madness. Each step brings you closer to the source of the cemetery's dark power. What they summon from the depths is not meant for the eyes of the living. But in this place, some lines are meant to be crossed, no matter the cost. The spirits here are not mere memories, they are powerful, vengeful, and aware of those who trespass on their domain. And they do not take kindly to intruders. In the world's most haunted cemetery, death is not the end. It is only the beginning of a far greater terror. Escape is a fleeting hope in this place, where the very shadows conspire against you, dragging you closer to a fate worse than death. Even in the open air, the cemetery holds its victims tight, refusing to let them go. The dead are relentless in their hunt, driven by an insatiable hunger for the living. With no escape in sight, the intruder makes a final stand. But against the forces that dwell here, even the bravest heart cannot hold out for long. In the end, the cemetery claims another soul, adding to the countless others who have fallen before. And the cycle of horror begins anew. In this place, time stands still, and the living become the dead, their stories lost to the ages. But the cemetery remembers, and it waits. The world's most haunted cemetery has claimed its latest victim, but it is far from satisfied. It will wait patiently for the next fool who dares to enter. For those who dare to challenge the unknown, this place serves as a grim reminder: some doors should never be opened, and some graves should never be disturbed. The world's most haunted cemetery has claimed its latest victim, but it is far from satisfied. It will wait patiently for the next fool who dares to enter. Some are drawn to danger like moths to a flame, convinced that the warnings are mere superstition. But in the world's most haunted cemetery, ignorance is the first step toward doom. They enter with bravado, unaware that the cemetery has already marked them as its next victims. The gate that once protected the living now serves to trap them within. It begins subtly: a touch, a whisper, a chill in the air. The spirits of the cemetery are waking, drawn to the fear of the living. And they are hungry. In this place, the boundary between the living and the dead blurs, and what was once solid becomes insubstantial. The cemetery is alive with the echoes of the past, and it wants more than just their fear, it wants their souls. The cemetery does not claim its victims all at once. It picks them off, one by one, saving their terror as they realize the horror that surrounds them. In their panic, they turn on each other, not realizing that this is exactly what the cemetery wants. Divided, they are easy prey for the malevolent forces that lurk in the shadows. The gravekeeper's hut is a relic of the past, untouched for decades. But within its walls, the secrets of the cemetery are preserved, waiting for those foolish enough to seek them out. The journal speaks of rituals and sacrifices, of a curse that binds the souls of the dead to this place. And as the words are spoken aloud, the curse begins to awaken once more. Desperation drives them to foolishness, believing that they can bargain with forces beyond their understanding. But in this place, rituals are not performed by the living, they are sacrifices offered by the dead. Instead of salvation, they have summoned something far more sinister. The cemetery has been awakened, and it will not rest until it has claimed every last one of them. The dead have risen, not as mere apparitions, but as vengeful spirits, seeking retribution for the wrongs done to them in life. And the living are powerless to stop them. In the end, the past cannot be escaped. The sins of those who came before have cursed this land, and now, the living must pay the price. With no way out, they make a final stand against the forces of the cemetery. But in this place, courage is no match for the power of the dead. In the world's most haunted cemetery, death is not the end. It is only the beginning of a far greater terror. The cemetery is relentless, and it will not stop until it has claimed every soul that enters its domain. But for the last survivor, hope still lingers, fragile and fleeting. The survivor escapes, but the price of their freedom is the souls of their friends. And though they may have left the cemetery behind, the horror of what they witnessed will haunt them forever. The cemetery has been fed, but its hunger is never truly satisfied. It will wait, as it always has, for the next group of curious souls to wander through its gates. The earth itself is cursed, tainted by the restless dead. Those who enter the cemetery are never truly free, even in death. With the light of day, the cemetery hides its horrors beneath a mask of tranquility. But darkness always returns, and with it, the terrors of the night. The world's most haunted cemetery is far from finished. It waits, patient and hungry, for the next souls to dare cross its threshold. The curse will live on, as long as there are those foolish enough to challenge it.